الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم إله الأولين والآخرين وأصلي وأسلم وأبارك على نبينا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى صحبه الغر المحجلين وعلى من تبعهم بإحسان يوم الدين. We're still in the book story of the Sahabah radiallahu anhum. So some of their stories, and today we have reached to, after we talked 2 days ago about Thabit ibn Qais al-Ansari. We should quiz you, make a little quiz every time. What do you remember from the previous Sahabi? So we'll make it like so. We'll make sure the information you have it. Because the people are role models, the people to follow. We always look for someone to be around your child as a role model, but this is the best role models. As the Sahaba, the best generation ever existed. Talha ibn Ubayd at-Taymi. Talha, one of the famous Sahaba, definitely. Well-known Sahabi. For the one who doesn't know, he is very, very, very famous Sahabi. And Talha, one time he was a merchant, as most of the people in Quraysh. He went to a city, or nowadays small city, called Busra. Busra, nowadays in Syria, part of the suburb of Dar'a, governorate in Syria. So Busra, there's Basra in Iraq and Busra in Syria, a small village in the south part of Syria next to the city called Dar'a, which is part of it, one of the suburbs. And he was there, he was working with Quraysh, basically with Tujjar Quraysh, with the merchants of Quraysh, going back in there, selling, dealing, and wheeling. And even though Talha was a very young man at that time, does not have as experience as much as they do, the other, the giant or so, they call them whatever, the giant Tujjar or merchants. But he was very, very smart person, and he used to compete with them. Matter of fact, he used to get better deal than them, even he was young. SubhanAllah, during the time when he was there, he heard the story, changed his life totally. Matter of fact, he was one of the reasons for the history to be changed by this story he have heard. And Talha himself, radiallahu anhu, he the one who told the story. So the story narrated by Talha. There's no one wrote the story, him himself. He said, بينما نحن في بصرة. We were in Busra, that city we just mentioned, and a priest was calling anyone. He said, anyone here, all the merchants, because they want a marketplace there. Like nowadays, they go to the show. Used to be a show, and Busra was a very famous, that was one of those main city for the Roman Empire. It's a lot of palaces. They have a castle still there till this day, beautiful place, and the castle is still there, and the leaders of the Roman, a lot of them used to reside and live there. So when the marketplace is like a show nowadays, he said, anyone from the Haram here, because Mecca was always have been Haram. Mecca always been Haram through the Arabs and since Ibrahim alayhi salam and non-Arabs. And he said, I was close by. He said, I am from Ahl al-Haram. I'm from the Haram. I'm from Mecca. He said, have you heard a man's name? Did a man's name Ahmed show up? So what does that mean? He said, who's Ahmed? He said, Ahmed, the son of Abdullah, the son of Abdul Muttalib. So he said, this is the month now, this is his time to come. And he said he is the last prophet, the seal of the prophets. He will come from Mecca, from your land, he told him, and he will migrate to another place full of black stones. Meaning all the rocks, which is Medina. Medina, would look at it, it's all black mountains. Right? And he said has a lot of palm trees and sibach, basically, and also like some waters there. It's Medina, it still have some like valleys and so on. There's water there, way more than Mecca, definitely. Mecca, there's no water in Mecca. He said, be careful, don't let someone be ahead of you of following this man. Be the first. He said, right away, when I heard the story, I immediately, he said, I got my camp ready, I sat on top of it, ready to move. I want to go back to Mecca, subhanAllah. Right away, I was going back as fast as I could. When I got there, I mentioned to my family, said, have you heard anything happen when I was gone? I said, yeah. So what happened? He said, Muhammad, he claimed he's a prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He said, and Ibn Abi Quhafa have followed him. Ibn Abi Quhafa is Abu Bakr, because his name, Abdullah ibn Abi Quhafa. Abu Quhafa, his father, right? So he said he followed him. He said, Talha, right away, he said, I knew Abu Bakr from before. I know Abu Bakr, an easygoing man. And he was a merchant also, and he's a straightforward man, doesn't cheat, and everyone loved him, and even loved to sit around him. Abu Bakr was one of the noble people in Quraysh. However, he said, I went right to Abu Bakr and I asked him, did Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said he's a prophet? He said, yes. He said, did you follow him? He said, yes, I did. And he started telling me, Abu Bakr telling Talha about what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam have said to him, and tried to basically encourage me to go to become Muslim. And I shared with him the priest's information, the monk in Busra, and he told him what happened there. And he said he was amazed, Abu Bakr. This, some stories strengthen up your iman, like the prophecies and so on. When you hear about the prophecy of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about what's going to happen in the future, this increased one's iman. So this story basically made Abu Bakr also happier, subhanAllah. He said, let's go to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we told him about your story, and let's see what he's going to say, and also you become Muslim, inshallah. Talha said, I went right along with him, and he offered me the Islam, and he recited a few ayat from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he told me this is the good for the dunya wallahi and the hereafter. And right away I loved Islam. Few words. When you understand the Arabic, the Quran Arabic, the real Arabic, not any Arabic, not Arabic tabana, that's the real Arabic, you will be in love with the Quran. You'll be amazed with the Quran. This is divine words. This something is not, no one could even come close to this. I have mentioned before, subhanAllah, there's words mentioned in the Quran, why Allah said Rabbuka, didn't say Ilahuka. Why it say Rahman, didn't say Allah in some ayat. So the people of language, subhanAllah, they see why Allah said this, even they have the same meaning. But cannot be Rahman here, has to be Allah. Cannot be Allah, it has to be Rabbuk. Cannot be Al-Afu, has to be Al-Qawi. So all this, subhanAllah, the words was mentioned, even not as simple as Afu and Qawi and Shadid al-Iqab. Talk about why Rabbuk here, why not Ilahuk. Why Allah here is not Ar-Rahman. So when he heard with the Arab there, their language was so high, and they understand, so beautiful, and they understand this is something different than everything they have ever heard. So right away when I heard, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened my chest to Islam, I became Muslim, and I informed Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the Rahib, the monk of Busra. And he said he was so happy, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to hear that, because he needs to encourage the people. He knows he's the Prophet. But he wanted the other to believe he's the Prophet. There's evidence. That's why every prophet, when you debate with non-Muslims, you tell them about they claiming this guy, Isa alayhi salam, he's son of Allah, or Uzair is son of Allah, and this and that. Allah have supported each prophet with the miracles. So people believe he's a prophet. Otherwise, everyone could claim I'm a prophet. So when this is stories, encouraged Abu Bakr, Prophet ﷺ was happy, and at the same time, so encouraged the people to become Muslim, inshallah. So Prophet ﷺ was happy with this, and he also became, he said, Shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah Rasulullah, and he said, I was the fourth one to embrace Islam. The fourth one. So his family, when they heard, they were shocked. That Talha became Muslim, and he came again from Quraysh, from noble family, and he was he was genius, smart. He had all the qualities to become a leader. So this is what they were hoping for, that he's going to become a leader. And when his mom heard, she was even the worst, his mother, subhanAllah, because that's what her dream, her son to lead. So his people, his tribe, they tried everything to convince him to change his mind. He was, like they said in Arabic, like a mountain, doesn't move. His iman, his heart, like so strong, there's no way. When they gave up, with the convincing way, they couldn't convince him, and they used the other way, start beating him up, torturing him, and so on. So Mas'ud ibn Kharrash, he said, I was making sa'i between Safa and Marwa, and I saw a group of people, a lot of people. With a man been handcuffed, tied up to his neck, basically, and they running after him, and they pushing him, and they hit him in his head. And like an old lady, she was cursing him, chasing him and cursing him. And he said, what's going on? Who's this kid? Who's this young man? He said, this Talha ibn Ubaydillah Sahabah, meaning kafir. He became kafir. So then he became kafir, right? So he followed they said, the boy from Bani Hashim. Said the Ghulam, Bani Hashim, instead of like, they want to criticize Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And they said, and what about this old lady? What does this have to do with this? She said, this is his mother. His own mother was chasing him, cursing him, screaming, and so on. Then he said, Nawfal ibn Khuwaylid, his name was Asad of Quraysh, he said, the lion of Quraysh, strong man. He went to Talha and he tied him up with a rope, subhanAllah, and him and Abu Bakr together. And he gave it to the kids, he handled Abu Bakr and Talha to the kids, and start basically, they torturing the two young men. And they were like basically, Abu Ubayd, Talha and Abu Bakr, they were called Al-Qarinain, meaning they were the one who tied up together. They got the same thing. SubhanAllah, days come, and many stories happened during that time, and Talha became older, became more mature, more strong, and the test became even stronger and bigger, and his steadfast in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala became even stronger with the torture, same amount, same level. Did not change anything in him, radiallahu anhum, till the point the amount of torture he got, they told him al-shaheed al-hayy, he's living shaheed. That's a living shaheed, that much, subhanAllah. And Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam have called him Talha al-khayr, Talha al-jud, wa Talha al-fayyad. SubhanAllah, so Talha al-khayr, the Talha of the generous, Talha of the good. And all this, subhanAllah, they shows what kind of qualities he had, radiallahu anhu. So call him as the life shaheed, right? The shaheed is not dead yet. When the Muslimin, basically they were defeated in the battle of Uhud, and was only with Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam 11 men. 11 men from Al-Ansar and 1 man from Al-Muhajirin, which is Talha ibn Ubaydillah, radiallahu. So when the mushrikeen follow, I mean, this story, subhanAllah, it's touchy when you hear the mushrikeen, they will follow Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, want to kill him, subhanAllah. So the mushrikeen, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was climbing above the mount, and the Quraysh and the kuffar following him, trying to kill Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man yaruddu anna," who protect us? Those people, the group of mushrikeen. They saw Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they want to voluntarily, so he will fight the group of mushrikeen, and he said, he will be with me in Jannah. Talha immediately said, I will do it, Ya Rasulullah. SubhanAllah. فقال Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told him, stay where you at. A man from Ansar, he said, I'll do it. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, you do it. He did not choose Talha. So Al-Ansari, the man from Ansar, he fought till he died as a shaheed. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the rest of the people, he was on top of the mount. Then the rest of the mushrikeen, they followed Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, there's any man who will go fight these people. Talha said, I will do it, Ya Rasulullah. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not you. Then the man from Ansar, he said, I'll do it. Then the Ansari, he fought till he died. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam kept on climbing the mount, and the mushrikeen following him. And Talha radiallahu anhu kept on saying, for Prophet kept on saying, who will defend us, who will take care of him? And Talha every time he would say, me, Rasul will choose another one. Then till they died, all of them, the 11. And the only one remained was Talha radiallahu anhu. Then the mushrikeen followed Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Talha, said, now you could take care of Talha. And then Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam his teeth was broken, and his head was wounded, and even his lips also was wounded, and the blood was going all over his body, and he was tired, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imagine all this battle, and he was about 56, 57 years old, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I think about 56 years old in the battle of Badr, Uhud, and he's running, fighting, and he got injured. And then Talha took over, and he was fighting like no one ever fought like this fight. Then he goes fight, then go to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, help him out to climb up the mountain, give him a place, a safe place, and help him out. Then he go back to fight the mushrikeen till he defeated all the mushrikeen. Radiallahu anhum.
This is in Mecca?
This is in Quraysh, battle of Uhud. Uhud. So he said, Abu Bakr, he said, I was with Abu Ubaidah radiallahu anhu away from Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When we came, we went to help the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, they want to help him. He said, Trukani wansarifa ila sahibakuma. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, leave me and go take care of your friend, Talha. Imagine. Talha he had about 70 some wound in his body. Said each single part of his body had like a cut, subhanAllah. Even his hand was cut off, radiallahu anhu. And he fell in a hole, was fainted at that time. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, since then he said, whoever like to see a man from Jannah walking on the face of this planet, look at the face of Talha radiallahu anhu. And when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he would Uhud, the battle of Uhud was mentioned, he said, this is the battle of Talha. The battle of Talha, because he's the one who defended Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So talk about Talha, that's the reason why he's the living shaheed. And talk about why Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave him the title of Talha al-Khayr, Talha the generosity, Talha the good. Because there's so many stories you have mentioned. Some of them, he said, Talha, as you know, he was merchant and he was very rich. Those Sahabah, a lot of people, they think they're poor. A lot of them rich. Uthman was rich, Abu Bakr was rich, Umar was rich, and Talha was rich, Rahman was rich. Many of them, they were rich, but they gave up the dunya. The dunya came after them. They didn't run after the dunya. They did not leave the dunya. They did not do haram for the dunya. Never, ever. But the dunya came after them, and Allah gave them. When you let go of the dunya, for example, coming here to Salah, Allah provides for you. You didn't have to worry about this. So he was very rich. And one day, subhanAllah, he had money coming from Hadramaut. Hadramaut is a part of Yemen, the southern part of Yemen, a beautiful part in Yemen. And till this day, Hadramaut, they're known as merchant people. May Allah reward them. And he said he had money, about 700,000 dirham. He slept the night. He said, came at night. He slept the night, worried about the money, so scared. So his wife, Kulthum, which is the daughter of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he was the son of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, said, what's wrong, Abu Muhammad? He said, something wrong, tell me. Did we do anything? Did we hurt your feeling? Did we say something to make you this way? He said, La wallah. But subhanAllah, he said, what a beautiful wife you are. He was complimenting his wife. And what a beautiful wife for the Muslim. But he said, I was thinking all night long. He said, I said, how could man sleep all night long and he have this much money in his house? How could the man go to sleep and he have this much money in his house? And we think about the bank account. And subhanAllah, what's wrong with it? He said, what about the people in need from among your people? SubhanAllah, when we see the money wasted, especially nowadays in Ramadan, I'm not going to talk about weddings and parties and all this stuff. This is different level. But even when you invite people to your house, how much food you are wasting every day when you invite people? And when you are invited, open buffet and so on, how much food is wasted in one day with one family, with one group? And imagine how much in general for the Ummah. He said, what about the people are in need from our people? The poor and the needy from our community. He said, in the book, the morning comes, subhanAllah, she told him, well, you wake up in the morning, divide it between them, give it them. He said, subhanAllah, you are muwaffaqa bint muwaffaq. You are guided, the daughter of guided. Meaning, Abu Bakr, he gave up all his money, and this is his daughter. She could take it like her father, radiallahu anhuma. And when the morning came, he made like packs, like money in bags, and he divided between the Muhajirin and Ansar, all of it. He did not keep anything, subhanAllah. And he said, one time a man came to Talha asking some help. And he said, we have a family. There's a law, we have some family ties together. He said, Talha, no one ever mentioned to me that you are a family member. So ma بعرفوش يعني. He said, وَإِنَّ لِي أَرْضًا. He said, I have a land. Uthman gave it to me. It was worth 300,000. Subhanallah. If you want, take it. If you don't want, I will sell it for you and give you the money for it. So the man came to him, he said, I'm a family member. He said, but no, I never knew that you were a family member. However, I have a land, Uthman gave it to me. It's worth 300,000. If you want, take the land. If you don't want to, I'll sell the land for you and give you the money. He said, no, go sell the land and take the money. He doesn't want to even work to sell the land. He said, okay. So he sold it and gave it to him. This is Talha al-Khair, and this is, subhanAllah, the story of our Sahabi today. And tomorrow, inshallah, with another great Sahabi. هذا والله أعلم. سبحانك الله بحمدك. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب